This is my SPS FragTank. It's 4 feet long by 12 inches tall and 24 inches deep. The lights on here are 3 Radeon G5s, which are hanging on an Aquatic Life T5 fixture, which is not being used at the moment. For flow, I'm using 2 Ice Cap 4K gyres. There are only 3 fish in here currently, but I plan to add more sometime in the future. Right now I only have a purple tang, a coral beauty, and a spring-eyed damsel. This tank is one of 4 that are connected to the same sump. As you can see, this tank is full of coral. Everything's growing into each other, and there is no room for anything else. A few months ago, after I had transferred everything to my 200-gallon display tank, I fragged some corals, but I didn't post them up for sale or anything. I literally just let them cook in here. I never really see what's going on in this tank because the lights are only on at night to offset the pH drop when the lights on my other tanks go off. Because of this, the corals in here are massive and growing into each other. So I really want to show how ridiculously packed this tank got before I get rid of all these corals. Because in my 200-gallon display tank, some things are growing out of control and could really use some trimming. This is a Tyree blue tip stag, and it's shading the corals under it, as well as starting to grow into the acros behind it. Here we have a Battle Corals backdraft acro growing over and onto a TSA Bill Murray acropora. Then over here at the bottom of the tank, there's a Battle Corals Grape Ready acro growing onto a Manila Spy and acropora. Then on the right side, there's Monteporas just growing like crazy. A lot of these acros are really starting to shade each other. You can see some of them are a little brown where the light isn't touching it. And here you can see one of the acros is actually growing onto this Montepora cap. So I'm gonna have to break off part of that to give it some room to breathe. And you can see that entanglement of Montes just growing all over each other. This Montepora island needs some trimming as well. I can't clean the glass on this side because it's grown too close to the glass. So every time I go into it, I bump it, move the corals, and move the rock. Even though this tank is young and a lot of the acros aren't really that big, you really have to manage their size depending on what they're next to or if they're too close to each other. If they were a little bit more spread out, I could continue to let them grow out and really let them fill in their space. The ones that are too close, I will have to maintain their size, somewhat like trimming a bonsai tree. If not, you could ultimately end up with one coral taking over your entire display tank. And as you can see, I'm a collector, so I like to have a lot of everything. This is another one of those corals that's gotten way too big, and I've just tucked it in on the side of the tank, so I really need to trim it or get rid of it completely. Here's a top-down view of the tank for y'all to enjoy. This is my favorite way of actually looking at my corals. From up here you can see which corals are really starting to shade each other or starting to grow into each other. Like this Montepora island right here, there's 5 or 6 different ones completely overgrowing each other. A lot of the acros on one side of the tank here are a lot smaller than the rest because they were recently purchased at Reefapalooza. That's why there's a notable size difference from one side of the tank to the other. Hopefully the tank doesn't look too different after I come in here and trim what I think is necessary. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment, or if you want me to make a video on a certain topic, let me know down in the comments. Like the video if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to see more.